Now, look, guys, these guys have been studying us. They've been studying our energy. They've been studying what's going on, and they're starting to do crazy things. And so, watch these couple of videos I put together.
An explosive device on the vehicle of American journalist Tucker Carlson during his most recent visit in Russia. In this video, this man goes on to say that he was recruited in November of 2023 by the main director of Ukraine's intelligence. According to him, in January of 2023, he was tasked with having to pick up this explosive device from a secret hiding spot and then having to go plant it underneath a vehicle that was underground in the underground parking garage of the Four Seasons Hotel in Moscow. Initially, the man stated that he wasn't aware of who his target was, but now that the interview has come out, he's pretty certain that it was meant for Tucker. He also claims that he...
What will happen with this AI if the government will let it happen? It will bring the world to self-destruction. AI is able to destroy entities, human beings, planets. That's what happened in Atlantis. What destroyed them is their technology.
What do you know about Moses?
He was the leader of the Hebrews. The Bible gives you one story. So most of the story in the Bible about Moses is correct. He wanted to create a new nation, but you couldn't do it with the people with the slave mentality. Was he a highly spiritual person? Yes, and like every human, we have our faults. But there's a lot of
He also claims that he was supposed to get paid $4,000 for this job. This is crazy shit. Crazy shit. This is Ukraine, the country that we're supporting.
When I look through social media platforms, I thought I would get the real information on what is going on. I realized nobody is willing to report on this. Russia made it clear, like, we should see this. This guy was arrested during the preparations of these stages to put an explosive on Tucker Carlson's vehicle. He didn't even know who Tucker Carlson was, according to the video. Now, I don't get the point. Before we even go into this, if you remember at the World Government Summit, Tucker Carlson said something. Take a look at this.
Have an explanation, a reasonable explanation, why there is this anti-war and this very negative remarks about this interview from a lot of your colleagues and a lot of politicians in the world?
One of the ways that I think I'm different is I don't like the internet, and I haven't seen any of the reaction, and I would imagine, I'm not the most popular person among my colleagues in the United States. I wouldn't have dinner with them anyway, so it's no great loss. But, I can't imagine what their motives would be. I didn't go to Russia, of course, to promote Vladimir Putin, and if that was my purpose, I'd say so, because I'm not embarrassed. I went because I felt that most Americans, in whose name all of this is being done, don't really know what's happening, and they know nothing about the guy they're supposedly at war with, unofficially. And I just felt that my job, if I have a job in this world, is to bring information to people so they can decide. And so I wanted to do the longest interview I could with Vladimir Putin that contained the most amount of Vladimir Putin talking, not me grandstanding about what a great person I am. When an American journalist interviews someone like Vladimir Putin, the whole point of the interview is to say, I'm a good person and you're not. And that interview was aimed at his colleagues in the newsrooms in the United States. I'm a good person. Why are you such a bad person? You're committing genocide. Okay. That's not fruitful, and that's certainly not my role. I care what God thinks of me, what my wife thinks of me, and what my 4 children think of me, and that's all I care about. So I don't need to prove that I'm a good person. I want to hear Vladimir Putin talk so people in my country can assess what's happening. That's it.
I'll use the devil's advocate.
But advocate away.
Yes. Okay, I'll tell you. You should challenge in the rules of an interview, and you're a master in your business. It's not for me to give you a lecture about that, but you should challenge some ideas. For instance, you didn't talk about freedom of speech in Russia. You did not talk about Navalny, about assassinations, about the restrictions on opposition in the coming elections.
I didn't talk about the things that every other American media outlet talks about.
Why?
Exclusively,
Yes, this is
because
my
those
question.
are covered, and because I have spent my life talking to people who run countries in various countries and have concluded the following: that every leader kills people, including my leader. Every leader kills people. Some kill more than others. Leadership requires killing people. Sorry. That's why I wouldn't want to be a leader. That press restriction is universal in the United States. I know because I've lived it. Ask my former, I've had a lot of jobs. And I've done this for 34 years, and I know how it works. And there's more censorship in Russia than there is in the United States, but there's a great deal in the United States. And so, at a certain point, it's like people can decide whether they think, what countries they think are better, what systems they think are better. I just want to know what he thinks. That was the whole point.
Yes.
Yes, I don't always like to.
I think I'm gonna start cutting carbs. I need to drop my belly fat.
Videos without clarity. I have watched that video over and over, to actually see if it is real. I'll be updating you on this information. Being recruited to plan an explosive device on the vehicle of American journalist Tucker Carlson during his recent visit to Russia has surfaced on the internet. According to him, in January of this year, he was tasked with picking up an explosive device from a hidden spot and using it to target the car in the underground parking of Moscow Four Seasons Hotel. A 35-year-old claims that the main director of intelligence of Ukraine recruited him in November 2023. According to him, in January of this year, he was tasked with picking up an explosive device from a hidden spot and using it to target a car in the underground parking of Moscow Four Seasons Hotel. I was trained in working with special communication, collecting and detonating explosive devices, and working with catches. He alleges in the video. The man goes on to claim that he was initially unaware of the target, but now he knew it was Tucker Carlson, the American journalist. However, he accepts that he was detained during the preparation stage. He further claims to have been promised $4,000 for carrying out the task.
And we're stepping up in every way we can because we know that Russia must win this war. That Ukraine must win this war.
Ukraine will join NATO. Truckers, long-haul truckers specifically.
Hell yeah, truckers.
Truckers, do you actually think you're irreplaceable? Like, this is capitalist America.
Top AI experts are saying are going to come this year and actually into the next couple years. You're not going to believe this either. And actually, we have a ton of other stuff, what's going on with real estate, the banks, and actually NVIDIA and much more, folks. Let's get into this. First, let's start with this here. One of the biggest companies for car parts, we're talking for Tesla, Ford, and half of the world's cars is slashing 10,000 jobs. Now, once you start to look into this topic, to cut 10,000 jobs looks to AI. Layoffs planned over the next 5 years. This company adjusts to EV transition. And what's interesting about this, of course, is NYCB. Woes are worrying Wall Street. Now the Fed's lifeline for banks is about to go away on March 11th. I love how they put these ads right at the top like that. It's awesome. New York Community Bancorp and America's top regional banks feels right around the corner. New trouble. Just as the Federal Reserve is getting ready to shut the emergency lending window, it opened nearly a year ago. So they opened this lending window, and these banks were supposed to just be using this as a temporary thing. And honestly, they've not. I really think it's higher than that. Maybe it's just in certain cities. It's extremely high. Otherwise, we wouldn't have these ridiculous stories of $20 Big Macs. And of course, now they want to do $50 an hour minimum wage as a proposal for California, right? And this guy might have the right idea, though, folks. We've seen how mortgage rates have went up so much. Apartment rent, very high. Perhaps the right idea is to just simply live in your office, folks. That's what this guy here is doing.
a video going around by Rachel talking about climate change and African American. And it has pissed off a lot of our non-ether being family, as it should. But you think that's something? You should check out this clip that I'm going to play. Listen. You gotta start listening. They put things out there because they feed off of us, our energy. They want to keep our frequency as low as possible because they know that anytime they say anything about African American and climate change together, it's going to piss us off. They even talked about how disparities in our community and how it affects us when we are collectively together. Listen, in low-income inner-city areas, or by people who can't afford to move away from pollutants. Mostly Black Americans being concentrated in the Southeast. That's because that's where there were a lot of plantations, and that's where many African Americans were brought to the United States during chattel slavery. So that's also the area of the United States that's most impacted by dangerous storms. And within the greater Southeast United States, you have Black residents 1.6% more likely than the average U.S. population within the Southeast to experience a 1 in 100-year flooding event. All kinds of problems. There's the flooding, there's the severe storms, there's the threat of heat stroke. There were studies out of the University of Virginia that showed in redlined neighborhoods, even within the same city, where there are Black residents, the temperatures are even hotter. So yes, I do think it's an issue that will affect Black Americans more than the general United States population. Levine yesterday revealing how Black Americans are most impacted by climate change.
Hello, I'm Admiral Rachel Levine. This Black History Month, I'm pleased to partner with OMH in advancing better health through better understanding for Black communities. Climate change is having a disproportionate effect on the physical and mental health of Black communities. Black Americans are more likely than white Americans to live in areas and housing that increase their susceptibility to climate-related health issues. And 65% of Black Americans report feeling anxious about climate change's impact. Through our Office of Climate Change and Health Equity and the Office of Environmental Justice, we're working with providers and community leaders to identify innovative approaches that empower communities to address the health consequences linked to climate change. Visit hhs.gov for more information and tune in next Thursday to hear from another HHS leader and how you can contribute to advancing better health for Black communities.
The co-host on this news show talked about how we were brought here from Africa during the slave trade, and we were brought here to the Southeast, and the disparities that African Americans over in the Southeast, as far as our poverty with our living conditions, and how we still manage to heat up the area. So it kind of made me think, there we go. They're studying our frequency. This is not about climate change at all. They're coming up with ways to study us, to get us to voluntarily study our frequency. One of the things that she said that stood out to me was that because of the slave trade and how we were brought here, which is BS, we were brought here, slave trade, that's where most of the storms happen. That's where a lot of the issues are happening with our weather. And they are studying us to figure out, we are causing these storms. Us non-ether beings are causing these storms in these migrated areas that we came to. They also spoke about how in Virginia, they have been studying us on how is it so hot in our areas. They're saying that we are causing the floodings. We are causing the tornadoes. We are causing the hurricanes. And they are trying to figure out what can they do to stop the non-ether beings from disturbing the weather.
Proportionate effect on the physical.
All right, so what we see here, we see that these beings, they have a whole department in their system for climate change, where they are studying our frequency. Brothers and sisters, didn't we tell you all we control this entire realm? Didn't we tell you all this? Didn't we tell you all that it's us that control this, and this is why excuse me, we need to awaken ourselves? This is why we need to awaken ourselves to who the fuck we really are. This is far gone. They're studying our frequency. I'm going to show you. see this? Why you think we're supposed to be building? We could be building vessels or machine or using some type of technology, creating some type of technology to offset this. Look at this gigantic piece of shit here.
It has been quite a week.
I want y'all to listen to this. Now, I'm not going to say nothing. I want to play this for you. I want y'all all to look at this right here, and I want you to see how they are lying to our people. I want you to watch this. This is all about genetics. Watch this.
To Super Bowl 58 ticks ever closer. While the hometown Raiders did not make it to the big game, the team's president is making her mark on the NFL. Coy Wire joining us again with more on Sandra Douglas Morgan, who is a true difference maker. Coy?
Yes, good morning. Sandra Douglas Morgan, first black woman in NFL history to be named team president, absolute boss. She grew up.
All right, now listen. First black woman to be named team president. She's president of the Los Angeles Raiders. Now, I want you to look at her. I want you to look at her family tree. Look at her mom. Look at her dad. This is what you call a hybrid.
Up here in Nevada, went to school here, college at UNLV Reno. She's been city attorney for North Las Vegas, member of the Nevada Gaming Commission, and chair of the Nevada Gaming Control Board. Most importantly, though, she is inspiring the next generation.
Not even a dream, because as a young child, I couldn't have dreamt of, one, I never had visibility to anyone who was in this role, and two, there was no professional sports in Las Vegas.
This is what they...
For a variety of reasons. So to be the president of...
Pause. Now, a lot of people will sit there and say, that's a black woman. No, that's not. That's a hybrid. And watch when you see the family tree.
Be the president of NFL team was something I couldn't even have imagined, much less dreamed of. And just to be able to do this for such an iconic international organization whose foundation and values have been in the right place in my hometown is, nothing short of incredible, honestly.
Her journey's the stuff of movie scripts. Growing up in blue-collar East Las Vegas, Dad Gilbert was serving in the military while Mom Kil Chow was working
as a
Keno runner.
Mom Kil Chow.
Sandra Douglas Morgan learned some of her greatest lessons.
We have to treat people as people.
Listen, this is not to cause hatred. This is not this is not for any racism or anything like this. This is to let you know how far black people so-called black people have been infiltrated. This is how far we have been infiltrated. You are what your mother is. Do you see this right here? This is an Asian woman. This Asian woman here is spliced, what you call what rhesus monkey, a unisnub-nosed monkey. This is not racist.
East Las Vegas, Dad Gilbert was serving in the military while Mom Kil Chow was working.
Mom Kil Chow. Clearly. Same thing with Tiger Woods. Same thing.
In casinos as a Keno runner, and through their adversities, Sandra Douglas Morgan learned some of her.
This is what you call tampering. This is what you call snatching our genes. Mm-hmm. So when people say this is a monkey, a unisnub-nosed monkey, this is not racist.
East Las Vegas, Dad Gilbert was serving in the military while Mom Kil Chow was working.
Mom Kil Chow. Clearly. Same thing with Tiger Woods. Same thing.
In casinos as a Keno runner, and through their adversities, Sandra Douglas Morgan learned some of her.
This is what you call tampering. This is what you call snatching our genes. So when people say, oh, I sit underneath the sun, I can absorb the sun. Yeah, but something is changing in them. Something is changing in them too. Will they be the slaves? And white people be the food? Ask yourself that question.